Hey, quick heads up before we jump in. If you're a Chiefs diehard and want short, sharp news plus game prep that actually matters, smash that subscribe button so we can hit our goal of 6,000 subs. All right, let's get into it. Top story for Week 9. Reports say former Chiefs wideout Marquez Valdes-Scantling is expected to sign with the Pittsburgh Steelers. That's the kind of roster move that looks small on the surface, but could ripple through game plans and depth charts across the AFC. Multiple outlets picked up on the signing report this afternoon, and the heavy roundup pulled that to the top of their Week 9 news list. Why this matters right now. MVS is a veteran speed threat who's bounced around a bit the past seasons. When he's on, he stretches the field and forces defenses to keep an eye on the deep ball, which changes how safeties and linebackers line up, even if he's not the target on every snap. If the Steelers add him to their receiving group, it could alter how opponents game plan for Pittsburgh, and it's something the Chiefs need to monitor as they scout AFC competition. But let me be blunt. This isn't just a headline readout. I want to make sure you leave this segment with two things. One, the simple facts so you're not scrolling through rumors. And two, a quick mental checklist you can use when the Chiefs face any team that adds a veteran deep threat. We'll get into the checklist in a bit, but for now, here's the short version. A. Does the signing change? Downfield coverage responsibilities. B. Does it create mismatches in the slot or force extra help on the outside? And C. Who on KC benefits from the opponent's defensive adjustments? Quick engagement. Tell me in the comments right now, which headline surprised you most from this week's roundup? Type the name and say why in one sentence. Also vote below in the comments. Do you think this MVS signing makes the Steelers more dangerous this season? Yes or no? Before we move on, one more quick piece from the heavy brief. The article bundles a few other Week 9 items that the Chiefs fan base should watch. Some roster notes, a couple injury whispers, and short practice report updates. I'll break those down next so you know the exact players to track and what missing bodies might mean on game day. Let's talk about Marquez Valdes-Scantling, because even though he's not wearing red and gold anymore, his latest move tells us a lot about how the AFC landscape is shifting. According to multiple reports, including the latest heavy roundup, MVS is expected to sign with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, some people might shrug that off and say, big deal, he wasn't exactly lighting up the stat sheet in Kansas City. But hold on, there's more to this than meets the eye. See, Valdes-Scantling was one of those players who didn't always get the love from the box score, but his speed had a huge invisible impact. When Patrick Mahomes had him on the field, defenses were forced to respect the deep ball, even if MVS wasn't the one catching it. That spacing gave Travis Kelce, Rashee Rice, and others the freedom to find soft zones underneath. His role wasn't flashy, but it mattered. Now, imagine that same speed landing in Pittsburgh. A team that's been desperate for consistent deep threats suddenly adds a veteran who's been in some of the biggest moments in football. Playoff games, Super Bowls, high-pressure drives. That kind of experience doesn't just help the receiver room, it helps a young quarterback like Kenny Pickett, or whoever's under center that week, read defenses with a little more cushion. But let's not ignore the Chiefs angle here. This is one of those sneaky signings that could circle back later in the season. If the Steelers are fighting for a wild card spot, or even just trying to play spoiler, a single deep shot to MVS could swing a game that ends up shaping playoff seeding. And remember, Kansas City's schedule doesn't leave much room for mistakes. That's why Andy Reid's staff keeps such close tabs on veteran players who move within the AFC. I know some fans were frustrated with MVS's drops last year, and that's fair. But you can't deny what he delivered when it mattered most. His touchdown in the 2023 AFC Championship game against the Bengals, that was clutch. His vertical speed during the Super Bowl run, also clutch. So even if his time in KC ended quietly, the guy brought real value when the lights were brightest. Here's what I want to know from you. Would you ever welcome him back if Kansas City needed mid-season depth at wide receiver? Type welcome if yes, or no thanks if you think it's time to move on. Let's see how the fan base really feels. And before we move to the next part, if you're enjoying this kind of breakdown, make sure you're subscribed and hit that like button. We're on the road to 6,000 subscribers, and your support is what keeps Total Chiefs News rolling with fresh analysis every single week. All right, let's shift the focus back home to our guys. Because while everyone's talking about what's happening around the AFC, there are some important updates on the Chiefs' own roster heading into Week 9 that every fan should know. According to the heavy report, a few players are still working through nagging issues from earlier in the season. The good news? Some of those names could finally be trending in the right direction. Let's start with the offensive side of the ball. The Chiefs' injury. Management has been pretty smart this season. Andy Reid and his staff have kept certain veterans on lighter practice loads just to make sure they're fresh for the back half of the schedule. Guys like Travis Kelce and Creed Humphrey have both had their rest days, and it's paying off in the games. But there are always concerns, especially at wide receiver. Rashee Rice continues to be the emerging bright spot, yet it's no secret that the receiving corps still hasn't found that consistent second threat week to week. That's why the Valdes-Scantling news from earlier hits a little differently. It's a reminder of how thin the margin is between solid depth and we need another target right now. On defense, Kansas City's been fortunate. The front seven remains mostly intact, and George Karlaftis has quietly been one of the team's most reliable producers. The linebacker unit, led by Nick Bolton when healthy, continues to be the heartbeat of this defense. Still, every fan watching practice reports knows that Bolton's availability, whether it's 100% or just close to it, always makes a difference in how Steve Spagnuolo draws up the game plan. And speaking of Spags, give that man credit. He's been juggling personnel all season, plugging in depth players who just seem to fit the system. Drew Tranquill, Shamari Connor, even some of the rotational corners. They've stepped up every single week. The defense is keeping Kansas City in games while the offense continues to adjust and find its rhythm post-bye. But let's not forget the big picture here. Heading into Week 9, the Chiefs are right in the thick of another AFC push. Every little detail, every rest day, every snap count could end up shaping playoff seeding. So keeping an eye on these minor updates isn't just trivia for superfans. It's how you understand why Kansas City is always in the mix come January. So here's your fan question for this section. Which depth chart spot worries you the most right now? Wide receiver, linebacker, or offensive line? Drop your pick below and tell me why. I'll feature the most popular answer in a future video. And hey, if you're liking these deeper looks at how the roster is shaping up, hit that subscribe button right now and ring the bell. We're pushing hard to reach 6,000 subscribers, and every like and sub helps us bring you more daily Chiefs breakdowns just like this. Now that we know where the roster stands heading into Week 9, let's talk matchups, because this one against the Steelers has trap game written all over it if Kansas City isn't sharp. On paper, the Chiefs are the better team. Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, Spagnuolo's defense, you name it, KC's got the pedigree. But the Steelers are a weird team. They never quit, they play physical football, and under Mike Tomlin they find ways to hang around even when they look outmatched. And with the potential signing of Marquez Valdes-Scantling, that offense suddenly adds a wrinkle the Chiefs haven't had to prepare for in their recent meetings. Let's start with the Chiefs' defense versus Pittsburgh's offense. The Steelers love to use quick, timing-based throws to get their quarterback in rhythm. They'll test Kansas City's tackling on the edges, screen passes, slants, shallow crosses, and if MVS does suit up, expect them to take at least one deep shot to keep the safeties honest. That means L'Jarius Sneed and Trent McDuffie need to stay disciplined with their leverage. The moment they bite too hard on a short route, that's when a guy like Valdes-Scantling can slip behind the coverage. Meanwhile, on the other side of the ball, this could be one of those grinded-out games for Mahomes and the offense. The Steelers' defensive front, even without T.J. Watt at full strength, always finds ways to pressure the quarterback. The Chiefs' offensive line must win early downs, because 3rd and long against that defense is exactly where they want you. Look for Andy Reid to lean on quick passes, maybe some pre-snap motion to open lanes for Rashee Rice or Kadarius Toney. And if Isaiah Pacheco can establish some rhythm on the ground, it'll make everything else easier. The X factor? I'm calling it now. It's going to be Travis Kelce. Pittsburgh has never had an easy answer for elite tight ends. They don't have the coverage linebacker who can match his combination of route running and chemistry with Mahomes. If Kelce finds his groove early, this could open the floodgates for KC's offense by the second half. Defensively, another underrated X factor is Shamari Connor. His versatility allows Spagnuolo to disguise coverage and blitz packages that confuse young quarterbacks. Watch for him on delayed pressures or sneaky slot blitzes. Those can force quick throws and create turnovers. And one more thing, special teams might decide this one. Field position, return yards, even one clutch kick could flip momentum. Harrison Butker has been rock solid, but those small edges often determine how close games finish. So let's get interactive for a second. Who's your X factor for this game? Drop a name in the comments, offense or defense, and tell me why you think they'll make the difference. And while you're typing that, take 2 seconds to subscribe and like this video. We're on our way to 6,000 Chiefs fans in the community, and your click helps more than you know. All right, Chiefs Kingdom, let's wrap this one up. Here's what we've learned heading into Week 9. First, the Marquez Valdez-Scantling signing with the Steelers might not shake the earth, but it's one of those sneaky AFC moves that could matter later in the season. If he finds chemistry in Pittsburgh, that's one more team Kansas City might need to game plan for in January. Second, the Chiefs' roster continues to look steady but not perfect. The offensive line needs to keep Mahomes clean, the receivers need consistency, and the defense, the defense, has to keep that intensity we've seen since Week 1. When this unit plays fast, physical, and disciplined, the Chiefs look unstoppable. And finally, the matchup with the Steelers isn't about style points, it's about survival. This is the kind of mid-season game that championship teams win by staying focused and clean. Don't beat yourself and you'll walk out with another W. So here's my prediction. I'm taking Kansas City to win it, 27-17. I think the defense forces a turnover or two, Kelce finds the end zone, and Pacheco grinds out the clock in the fourth quarter. Not flashy, just efficient, exactly how championship-caliber teams handle business. But now it's your turn. Drop your score prediction in the comments. And while you're at it, tell me who your MVP will be. Let's see who gets it right this week. And here's a fun fan challenge for you. If we hit 6,000 subscribers before kickoff, I'll drop a bonus breakdown with exclusive stats and film notes right after the game. So if you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell right now. Every single click helps grow this community of die-hard Chiefs fans, and I can't thank you enough for being part of it. All right, that's a wrap for this one. Enjoy the game, stay loud, and as always, go Chiefs.